On you.
Encourage those that want to observe the event.
Is expecting.
So there's no audio. Yeah, that's what I was just. All right, so here's the situation. I'm usually in there. I'm having to cover the office. I'll go back in there afterwards, but
Yeah, so it's just because what's happening is I think you're playing it through your speaker, so when I unmute it, since you have two instances, it's echoing. Because it's picking up your speakers through the mic.
on the laptop in there,
When I unmute
on the laptop or on this guy.
on that guy.
Okay.
Yeah, when I
So
unmute.
if you go in there and if you mute the desktop or the laptop,
Mhm.
which is this screen, if you mute the laptop, take that off, it should go away.
So is there two instances running on the laptop itself?
great place to go.
for the shelters are no refunds for rental cancellations. You may reschedule up to 2 weeks prior to rental date for a $10 fee. Splash pad renters may reschedule with no charge due to a National Weather Service severe weather warning. Now, the front office staff and myself and John, we're getting multiple requests because the earth is changing, temperatures changing. And I just want you to be aware of what kind of things that we're dealing with in case you want to make a different policy or say, hey, this policy is great. Obviously, during the worldwide pandemic, we gave refunds in 2020, 2021, and 2022. People have asked us about heat advisories, and I gave you the 3 different heat advisories and the temperatures. People have talked about air quality status. We can go to airnow.gov and with the Canadian wildfires. And I suspect that we'll have this next summer too. Canada may be burning again next year. We may have air pollution come down. People are concerned when they're renting shelters if, say, it's in a very high area. They're also saying things like, it might be bad out on Saturday. Can I have my money back? Or it might just be a little hot, a little cold, but it's not a severe weather, warning from the National Weather Service. Or we've had death in the family. We've approved 2 refunds in 33 years for deaths in the family health ailments, renter change plans. And on the next page is county travel status. And that would be if someone rents the Commons, say in December, and I don't know, say there's an advisory or a watch or a warning where they're not supposed to travel on county roads, those kind of items. We've never really discussed, who do we give a refund to? Do we give it if they request it? Do we give it if there's an advisory from the National Weather Service? And this is just a discussion. So I don't know if you have any thoughts or questions, because it is getting hotter. It's getting smoggier. It's getting the air qualities.
And it's so subjective. I live in the country. It's noticeably cooler than it is when I'm in town. So if I were a renter and it's hot at my house, you might say, but at the park, it's 5 or 6 degrees cooler. So no refund. That's so subjective.
And the only thing that's not subjective, if the National Weather Service says, and I'm making this one up, I don't know if we've ever had an excessive heat watch. That might be in Arizona, but someday we might get there. You never know. And we don't want people in the splash pad when there's lightning going across. So that's why we have that 3rd bullet up there. I know Jamie's talked to Bloomington Parks and Recreation, and what did they?
So, and just to let you know, this is not a widespread thing. I think unless Tina has taken some calls lately, we've really only had one person ask for a refund because of heat. That was very recently. But when I called the city of Bloomington to ask what their policy is, they don't do any refunds, no matter what the weather, no matter what the circumstances. The office manager did tell me that if there is a rare situation where somebody's loved one has passed away and the party was for them, they do concede sometimes to things like that, but they do make the person come to the office and request a refund in person. So they're a lot more strict than we are. They don't even do the National Weather Service refunds. So,
Which is for the splash pad.
Yeah. I can see that. I could see an excessive heat warning because basically you're being told to stay home.
Yeah.
And that would be sort of similar to the whatever. But I'm sorry if it's hot. It's August, it's only 75 degrees today. It's pretty nice.
And the one request we did have
yeah.
for someone to get a refund for the heat, there was no heat advisory. It was mid-80s.
Yeah, I mean, that's their problem and they should be able to forecast that. I could see again for things where the National Weather Service is basically telling us to get out of the sun, etc. Or a death in the family, I'm okay with that too, because I mean, you can't forecast that. Well, maybe you can, but you shouldn't be able to. But I mean, the rest of it is you play the lottery and you win or you lose.
Do we know
generally how far in advance, excessive heat watch would be issued?
Usually they can forecast it several days in advance.
That's what I'm thinking. Well, if we could, I mean.
Yeah, but then it could, you
Yeah.
could say Saturday maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, I can understand the need, to know a couple days in advance whether your event's going forward or not. And if there's a heat, watch, excessive heat watch that's known a few days in advance, I could see allowing someone to reschedule based on that information. And them rescheduling, not getting a full refund. But to wait till the very day of, I think is a little hard to work around. I don't know. If that information is available a few days in advance, they need to act on it, so.
Advisory is going to be available a few days in advance.
But not
A
a
warning is imminent.
or what?
No, a warning is the only one that I would say is an issue, but they would still be able to forecast that. You
Is there a
know,
warning?
they may not issue the warning, but they might say, you watch the weather forecast and they say, Wednesday, it's gonna be a heat index in excess of 110. They already kind of know that. The rest of it, again, if you can't tolerate the heat, why are you renting a shelter in the summer in Bloomington?
I'd leave it exactly like you've got it right now.
I'm 100% there.
Well, staff, this helps back staff up, when we are talking to them. Because a lot of people sometimes tell us stories.
No.
I guess the other thing, and this is probably opening Pandora's box, but we could have an appeal system that doesn't detail the reasons, and you could weigh the facts, and see if it makes sense, but that's probably too
I
good.
think they already do that.
Okay.
I mean, we want to be fair across the board. Like I said, like Jamie, I think the last one was the gentleman was having a birthday party and he passed away before his birthday party.
And so you made a judgment.
Yes.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I'm saying you could apply that same approach in the future, if circumstance really warranted a recon.
Like I said, we have.
Well, if the story is good enough and you don't want to make a decision, you can come back to the park board and we'll make a decision at the following meeting.
I think Jamie and I are fine with the 3 bullets up here, Jamie, are you?
Yeah, honestly, I'm with Dr. Carolyn. If you schedule an outdoor shelter for August in Indiana, and then you call us on Monday and say, it was hot, I'm sorry, I have no compassion. No. So yeah, if there's a heat, if the National Weather Service does issue a heat advisory, okay, I understand. We could, but only if they call and request it. We're not calling everybody and saying, hey, it might be hot on Saturday, you want a refund. People have to call and request it.
And also look at the county travel status, that's for winter, basically. There is at some point that the county does not want like essential travel on an orange.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple years, 10 years ago or something, we had 3.5 feet of snow and basically they shut down the roads except for whatever. That would be, again, a situation where the government shut down their ability to get to the park. But if they're making the decision that it's too hot, too smoggy, too whatever, I think that becomes their problem.
Okay, so more of the snow situation we can
Yeah,
probably.
a situation where the government says, stay home, don't move. I can see doing refunds if somebody requests it.
Because also, Andy closes Cars Farm Park if we do not feel that it's safe enough because we have not been able to plow the snow efficiently. And there's, maybe a yellow or orange advisory. We close the park just.
Well, if it got to be 110 degrees in the park, we probably close the park and want people out of there anyway. If we did, they should get the money back.
Well, and that's an Arizona situation, but we may be there.
Yeah, well,
Not next.
Well, but if we close the park, we give their money back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure,
Yeah,
that-
it doesn't have to be snow. It could be.
Oh,
If we're
okay.
the ones that, if we're the ones that force a closure, if we say, hey, you know, we got. A tornado came through yesterday and the park's closed, shutting down, you know, whatever. I'd say that that would be a reason if somebody called and said, well, you closed the park, I'd like my money back.
And we've done that when we've had a restroom situation.
Okay.
We have offered them alternative restroom situation. You know, we've given them options. Yes, okay. But we just want to make sure that you're all aware of what the request.
What we're saying is there's three, or leave it like that, and if somebody calls, use some judgment.
Excellent, I'm fine with
agree.
that, all right.
If it ain't
By the
broke,
way,
don't-
lottery ticket, I want them to give me another one. Right.
Sounds like a plan, we just wanted to make sure you had time to discuss in case other people would like to attend to wanting their money back.
Any other discussion? Okay, moving on. Maybe I should have asked to amend the agenda for this, but I have a question under old business that I'd like to go back to last month. And thinking about what Joe said about investing the 30,000 replacement money that we proposed to implement if the field replacement goes forward. And I think it was Joe asked if it could be invested, and you said would go into a designated line item. My question is there no way to invest $30,000 so it's not sitting around making money for 10 years?
What we can do is ask the State Board of Accounts and Monroe County Auditor's Office to see what our options are.
And the other idea that I had was perhaps to I don't know what language you hear. Make it the responsibility of the foundation to hold that money and invest it.
That would be another State Board of Accounts and Monroe County Auditors. Answer.
So could the question is, can the department move $30,000 to the foundation? Or however it wants to use it, well, for safekeeping, and then the foundation, I can't think of any reason why it could not invest it while it's holding that money.
We will ask the State Board of
Thank you.
Accounts and Monroe County Auditor's
That
Office.
was worth it.
Because normally the money doesn't go that way, it goes from the foundation to the Parks Department. It usually does not go from the Parks Department in that quantity.
Could it go to the foundation as a trust?
That would be a State Board of Accounts question.
That
and
is the
Monroe County Auditors.
But that's why foundations exist, is so you don't have to go through.
Right.
Well, we still need permission.
I don't think the idea of taking parks money, parks, and then parking the foundation, then getting it back later, I'm not sure that's the function of a foundation. To receive outside money to go towards park related functions. But I guess my question is, isn't money that the county is holding for all the departments, it's invested, it's.
That is the true fact.
It's just, it's not, we're not, the park department getting the interest from those investments.
Correct.
That money is not sitting in a bank account, getting no interest, it's just going to the county generally, so. In my view, that's kind of like a matter of which pocket do we want to put the money in, it's still earning.
And that's up to the Monroe County Treasurer,
whatever
how they
We
invest.
would invest it in, we would want to do it conservatively anyway, we don't want to do anything that's gonna.
But we had agreed to potentially commit $30,000 out of our budget.
Right.
Toward a replacement 10 years down the road. Do that every year or however many years it takes before there's a replacement issued. So Kelly was saying that it would just sit in a designated line item in our budget, uninvested and would not.
It is identified in our budget, the money is in the bank, drawing interest.
Through the Monroe County Treasurer.
Yeah.
But earns money, but it doesn't.
It doesn't earn the park money.
Like if we
It
saw-
earns money.
Yeah.
$30,000 a year, it doesn't matter if we're getting interest on that, we're paying $30,000 towards, we're earmarking regardless of the interest.
Well, and I think that point to take your comments one step further. that is still making interest for the county. And when we back up to the original point of this whole project, who's helping pony up a bunch of money for this whole project in the first place is the county. You know, we're not, in the grand scheme of things, we're putting nickels in the pot compared to what we're asking the commissioners and everybody else to put in for this turf project. So if we say, hey, here's $30,000 a year, you guys can reap the interest off of it, and we get to use the $30,000 in 10 years, I think we're still making out well. So, I mean, I don't think that we should be too concerned about the interest and who necessarily is reaping that benefit, because in the grand scheme of things, we're still getting a portion of that.
But I want to be sure that the interest earned over the course of 10 years on $30,000 every year goes to this project.
Ooh, don't know about that.
Yeah, that I don't.
So
I
if you
think
spend
that would work.
$30,000 for 10, and it's there for 10 years, even if it's a 2% return, that is over $6,000.
Exactly.
But that's not the problem.
But the county will be getting that $6,000.
We'll be getting it, and our commitment is to pay the $30,000 per year, so it's all the same in the wash.
Not in terms of what you could pay for a replacement fee.
No, not in terms of that, but the commitment to have a fund available is based on a per year contribution. And the fact that it's getting interest or not getting interest doesn't change the $30,000.
Actually, it kind of does. Because if the county gets $6,000 for that, then aren't they only paying 24,000?
You're talking about over how many year period?
Over a 10-year
Yeah.
period.
That's just the first 30,000.
Just the first year.
That's what I'm saying. Are they getting?
But the county could tell us that they're not gonna give us that $30,000 in our budget too, right?
And
Because,
I think,
you know,
I think getting the county to do some.
but let's see what the Board of Accounts says.
Yeah,
first.
State Board of Accounts, the treasurer, the Monroe County auditors, and they may come one meeting if you'd like, and they explain to you how they do their investments and how the money works in the county.
So, you know, whether we raise our shelter fees or to reduce the amount of money the county has to give us, or we give them $6,000 in interest a year, it all comes out basically in the wash.
Well, it does seem as though I should have made that an agenda item. It produced more discussion than I had.
Oh,
Okay. Moving on and looking forward to a presentation by the State Board of Accounts.
well, actually, probably from the auditor or treasurer. I'll grab you to Jessica.
You think they'd be too busy to come to Monroe?
Jessica, the treasurer, should come to explain how the finances of the county operate. It's probably very fascinating. Yes.
How the money, that's the treasurer would.
at the end of the day, I could care less about the $6,000 the county can have.
Moving on to new business, please. This is part of the amended agenda A.
Yeah.
Surplus list. Okay, here we go. You Kelly?
Yes, there's a handout. Yep. And we're working with,
That's all down, Carol, we don't have to.
I don't know.
and now we got one.
Black.
Yes. The facilities manager, Richard Kreider.
Yep.
Richard Kreider, prefers that we make one big list instead of asking the commissioners to surplus one little item every week. Yeah, so this is our list, and let me explain to you about the list. You'll see the words YSB in parks. That stands for Youth Services Bureau. And what has happened is that, and Penny might have more of the details, I can't remember when they moved into their new building, like 3 years ago? Oh, 4 or 5 years ago. Anywho, they had a lot of furniture that they needed to store. They stored some of it at the Showers building here, and they stored the other part at Cars Farm Park. Well, that same furniture has been piling up at Cars Farm Park all of these years. We've talked to the Youth Services Bureau 3 times. They've came out, they looked at everything, they don't want it. So that's why I put YSB in parks, because it's YSB's furniture, but it's located at Cars Farm Park.
And they told us we could do what we want with it.
Right, they're like, we never want to see it again. So, in
Is it
all,
your firework?
I have no idea.
That's what I kept getting asked from the maintenance crew guys today. I'm like, I have no idea.
So county maintenance came out and looked at everything. They need to look at it for inventory purposes, et cetera. So this top part, YSB and Parks, is their pile of stuff that, I am trying to move. If not, it'll be at the park for another 20 years. No reason to just keep it there and pile up and pile up. The next item you'll see is trailer loaded full of sheet metal. It's not the trailer, it's the sheet metal from,
That is from the maintenance building, the roof, on the maintenance building. In our old garage door.
okay? And then you go down, you'll see green soccer benches. Those are 33 years old and they're rusted. Green trash can holders, we don't use anymore. It's these things that hold trash cans and the metal trash lids that go on trash cans that we no longer use. Metal stage steps are these homemade metal nasty.
They're all
rusted things.
the old playscape bathrooms is what those are called.
Yes. Green square metal kids picnic table was something the park staff made 15 years ago. It's a pile of rust now. The two piles of sheet metal, gutters, chain link fence rolls, and miscellaneous metal is exactly what that is. The 4 silver soccer goals we have never used. They're about this wide. We don't know if they're cut. We've asked cutters like 4 times. Are these yours? They keep saying no. I've asked Lewis one more time since he's a new director. I said, if these are yours, you need to take them before Hoosier Cup, because we're trying to make everything nice so we don't look like a junk pile. Those need to go away. They're broken. They're not safe. We've never used them on our fields. We have green flat chain link fence that's laying on a pile. We have 5 outside cubbies, plastic, mostly white. We had them once.
What's a cubby?
A cubby is
I guess stand-up shelf. They used to be out at the splash pad.
so you put your tennis shoes in, or so, but what happens, of course, people misuse them, and basically they're just throwing trash every single day. Food, trash, so it's maintenance
Why
disaster.
would these be auctioned? It sounds like.
Oh, I think someone else, well, because they're
They're
not,
just plastic, so I mean, they're
yeah,
still
someone might want them,
usable, but somebody.
yeah. Who
Not
doesn't,
metal, so you can't really salvage them.
right,
Yeah,
can't
they're
salvage
either
them,
going in a dumpster when you try to sell them online.
or with the county auction,
County
county
auction.
auction. Because someone might be able to use them if they don't abuse them.
Some of this other stuff above.
No, I don't know, that's up to Richard and the commissioners, I don't know what they want to do.
So they can decide.
They
where
can
it's
decide, that's, yeah,
We're just basically saying we want to get rid of it and they can
Right.
figure out
right,
who to give it to.
right, the playground balance beam is broken, it needs to go to the dumpster. We have 2 brown metal King Kong doors, like if King Kong was there, you'd go, oh, that must be a door for King Kong, we no longer need those. We have a
That's what
standard,
Jerry thought too. He's like, what
You
the
like
hell's a
that?
King Kong?
well, that's, I was King Kong, I never use my door. We have a standalone shop light, it's about 5 foot tall and
90 years old. Still pumping out
We have-
halogen lights.
we have a broken concrete saw and a broken power washer. I put sell to Richards, but county legal might have a problem with that, so I told Richard, who is the facility manager, I don't care what you do with it, you can sell it at a county auction, you can put it in a dumpster, just make it go away. So what Margie always suggested is that we come with a list to the park board and you vote, and then Richard goes to legal and he does what he needs to do, then legal goes to the commissioners and then the commissioners vote on it. And they take it off the inventory and we dispose. Any questions on any of it?
You need a motion to make it, declare all this a surplus.
Yes, that you all don't want it.
That was my motion.
I
Second it.
Oh.
Wait a second.
Moved and seconded
It's
to approve the surplusing of these items. Any questions, comments? Okay.
Kevin,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Edward,
Yep.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
and Carolyn.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Oh dear,
Oh dear,
splash pad update.
yes.
Where to start? We've been having some UV filter issues, being going into a fail-safe mode. But it's been working well enough that we reset it and start working again. So we were gonna just keep going through the end of the season and it was fine. But then our chlorinator started acting up and not working right, which was a way bigger issue. So we decided just to shut it down for the last 2 weeks. It would have been a week and a half out, a week to a week and a half out for getting a service tech down. There's a couple things it could be, but it just wasn't worth doing it here at the end of the year, so.
And now, even before this, we have planned in the spring to do a complete overhaul of the splash pad.
Yeah.
We have original parts, we want to buy new parts, we want to update some stuff. We also have the electrical panel inside the pump house, which is a very toxic environment. So we want Cassidy's to give us a new electrical box and put it on the outside with an NEMA thing. So we want to do a complete overhaul of everything that we think we can replace and fix and get going, and we really want a great 2024 season.
And we can do a lot of stuff to it, but in the grand scheme of things, it is an older splash pad, and a lot of the stuff is finally starting to reach, I think, the extent of its age. Like she said, it's just so toxic in there. Any bare wire that's in that building is just corroded from top to bottom. So like the original control panel, I think probably needs replaced, and a couple other things that are just getting up there, and with all that corrosion, it's not good. When somebody's public safety like that, it's a pretty big deal, so.
Safety is our number one priority. If we don't believe our numbers are good for the water quality, we will close. And so I think we can do a big renovation, and I really believe we'll have a great summer next year.
So this is just an FYI.
FYI.
A sad
one.
I think we've gotten, I think, the word out to people who use the splash pad. Yeah.
He went through and got hold of everybody real quick.
Okay.
And yes, we gave everyone refunds who was ready.
Moving on.
It's good to last until last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, we were hoping.
Is what it is. Moving on to item C, informing us of the needed ramp for the caretaker's house.
As you
What's up?
recall, we renovated the caretaker's house. We, as in the park board and gravers, put a new roof on, put all new siding on, put new gutters on and whatnot. When we were doing that, Andy and I decided that we needed to take off one pair of our stairs off, because one, they were getting all dangerous and slippery and at a bad angle, and it was difficult to do the replacement of the siding. And then I thought that I am working with Bobby LaRue, he's a Monroe County Building Director. The best thing to do is probably put a ramp back up there instead of stairs. So we have a ADA access up to the upper level of that. Our staff will be doing all of the labor. So we will be buying all of the wood, and Jeff Sanders, our former park superintendent, he is going to be supervising this particular project. He has also designed the ramp and the little deck round so you can see the park better. And we will be getting all of this through building Bobby LaRue, and he's been helping us. And so it'll be a great improvement for the caretaker's house. I mean, the ramp will be there for years and years.
Well, is there any public activities that go on at the caretaker's house?
No, but I believe for the next 25 years, this is the best option to do. Because right now we only have, say the caretaker gets injured. The park staff had to carry him up the
Yeah,
steps.
we've got, the only thing we've got there, a set of stairs that do.
And I don't think that's
Two
a
turns to get to the top, so
And plus, if we wanna,
change furniture or
Yeah,
anything like that, it's.
and stuff, it just makes it safer for
And
staff.
I feel like right now he's in fairly good health and I think we could keep him in that job for a long time. And if something mobility wise happened, and even with, not with him, with somebody in the future, I think that just.
Yeah, just a brain day.
It would be an overall improvement of the house, and
It would.
not intended to make it more available to the public.
No.
No, and plus, he will also have better vision of the south side of the park
Part,
too.
yeah.
So, that's, having a caretaker out there is the best security asset.
I don't know what I would do without
And
it.
did you say you talked to the building commissioner's office?
Yes, Bob Delivery, we're working hand in hand with them. All he wants to do is see our drawing and we'll get our permit and everything will be ready to go.
What's the cost?
We don't know,
I
Andy
was
was,
gonna price it out, but I haven't got a chance to do that yet. That's something that's gonna happen.
You're gonna do all the work this year.
yes.
Yeah.
yes, our staff-
It'll just be lumber.
That much more than replacing the stairs.
Well, it's double the size.
So there'll be a deck this time too, instead of just the stairs. And then the ramp, which is gonna be longer than what the stairs were, just to get the angles right, so.
But so we're talking about more lumber.
Yeah, it's just lumber and hardware, yeah.
I think it's probably a good idea.
For long term.
We could have left that on, but like she said, it was rough, and then it literally touched the building the entire length of the stairs, so they would have had to trim around the old stairs, and then when we had to put new ones up, we would have had unsighted the house, so it was just like, just get rid of it.
Does the public ever need to contact the caretaker?
Yeah,
They do all the
They
time.
do all the time. Sometimes they knock on it
Yeah,
or.
so that'll be available, and then his other stairs, they come up all the time and knock on the door.
Good idea.
Oh, excellent, all right. Well,
And you want to move on to Will Detmer playground top surface?
yes, it is time to replace the top surface of the Smarty system at Will Detmer Park. Andy and the guys will measure it all out.
We already have.
Okay, we will ask, the Smarty system is, Elaine Sherman, how much just the top surface will be. Our staff can install it.
We've got enough crumb rubber that if we need to add any, we can just use what we have from the other playground.
And
So-
just so you know, I am sure it'll be under $50,000. Because I'll just read from the Monroe County Code, a purchasing agent may purchase supplies or services with an estimated cost of less than $50,000 on the open market without inviting or receiving bids or quotes. I mean, wild guess, I don't know, 20?
Yeah, I'm guessing maybe 20.
Depends on shipping costs.
It's 56 by 43 and those rolls were, I wanna say like 12 foot wide, so
And we'll pay from Parks Now Reverting.
probably only 4 or 5 rolls, short rolls.
So that's coming down the pipe.
But that's the original surfacing from when we
Yeah.
put it in that playground. And, it's
So
done well.
How many years?
Oh, my.
2009
When did you get hired?
and 2007, but we were working on the splash pad then, didn't even have Denver.
When did you have that fire?
It was 2010.
2010.
Thank you. Well, this is how we remember things. I do have to tell you this. When Andy was younger, we had a fire in one of our vehicles from the straw,
It was a straw, but we were blowing straw, yeah.
and the fire occurred on the vehicle.
It was
And
crazy.
Andy jumped in and saved all this stuff. And then after I found out, I basically grabbed him and said, don't you ever, 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 ever do that. You let that truck burn.
There was straw burning underneath the vehicle and it's like, it's gotta get moved right now or it's gonna
Would
catch
you
on
ever-
fire.
You won't ever do that again.
I'd say no right now, but
That's how we,
It was crazy.
that's how
And the
we
first one
remember
Caught on
things.
fire and I grabbed it, and threw it out, and then the second one caught on fire, and when I grabbed it, the strings broke and it just.
So
It was crazy.
that's how we remember things.
That's a good time.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's what it was that day, but it was something.
So it's very old and right, the surface needs, it'll be needing place. But with this Smarty surface that we have, everything underneath will stay for decades.
Yeah.
Decades. That's why we've chosen this
Well,
system.
sounds good.
Just
So
so
you
you're
need a
aware.
motion for that?
No,
Okay.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna be spending money. Well, I'll come back and tell you all the money we're
Later.
But we do have cash and non-reverting. You have cash. Use it.
E, what? Oh, it's about Jackson Park.
Yeah, Jackson Creek Park has playground equipment that is 30 years old, I believe. And right now, it could be tomorrow, it could be next year, as soon as Andy.
I've already taken down several pieces of it over
Pieces
the
of it.
past handful of years.
Andy's a certified playground inspector, and as soon as Andy says, we're done, we just need to pull it out. I have no plans to replace it, but what we might be able to do in the future is from the shelter to the park there's a park easement, we might be able to put a swing set or something like that in the future. Because the location, whoever chose that location, it was not me, it's underwater. That location.
Any idea, how much the playground equipment was used down there, or was this deterioration just due with time and element?
I mean, that's 30 years, that's a long time.
That's the idea of what the people around there, degree to which they use it. It might be nice to put some other things in there,
There's
but I
really
think.
no room. There's not much room, like the entire place is in a floodplain. Like only just a little bit where she's talking about a swing set being able to fit, the rest of it, like literally where our playground sits now. The one platform is 4 or 5 foot high and the water will be to the top of that platform. When it floods, they'll be full of sticks and leaves on that whole platform of that playground.
And we have some gas easements.
Yeah, a couple of easements going
When
through
we've
too.
done our 5-year plans, we asked for community input, and we never got much input about what we should do with Jackson Creek Park.
I will say I don't think so. Now, one thing about the neighborhood, and like any neighborhoods, they come and go. You have young families, young children there, they grow up. They're seniors, and it kind of rotates. Sometimes we don't have a lot of kids. Sometimes, oh my, all the kids, now we have children. So we'll look at it, but if we have to pull the playground out, we're gonna pull the playground out. And also there's exercise equipment in that park. When I mean exercise equipment, it's just like these bars. Like pull-up bars. This is my
Metal
opinion.
balance beam that's got sand underneath.
Well, this is my opinion. Anytime you have an attractive nuisance, children are gonna use it. And it does not have a safety surface underneath, and it has some concrete items. So Andy has put that on the list just to pull all that out, because we know, behind the scenes what the kids are probably doing. They're playing on it, and it's not a piece of playground equipment, but we know what children do.
Well, I fully agree with your removing any unsafe equipment out there. I just think that in doing that, we ought to be prepared or start thinking about what may come next, what we could do in the future to replace it, what we took out, not with the same thing, but in some other amenities that
Yes.
might be beneficial down there, rather than just say we've given up on this park, tell the neighbor, we've given up on the park, we're pulling everything out, and have them think that we've abandoned things.
And that's why we're thinking either a small unit or a swing area, unit. There is also an easement that goes from the park, which we do not own, to the park to the sidewalk. I thought I'd take Andy and talk to the owner to see if he would want to, or if he would want to donate it to us, or maybe we could buy it, because that access to the park would be the biggest benefit. So people would know, here's a nice path to the park. I can get to the shelter, I could get to a swing set or a playground that's at least almost out of the floodplain.
There is a whole lot of building going down on down there, there's that new subdivision off of that road and stuff, so that area is getting more.
There's a lot of
Family
family
housing.
connections happening
Yeah,
out there.
now, while we're talking about Jackson Creek, I just got a call yesterday from the highway department, and they had me on a Zoom call. The highway department is in charge of a Cars Farm Greenway connector path from Liberty Drive to Cars Farm Park. During that, they are removing X amount of trees. DNR, in order to give them permit, needs to mitigate that tree loss. We are all thinking it might be good to have it at Jackson Creek Park. We have to talk to DNR, we have to talk to county legal, we have to talk to the highway department and back to the park board to have a little conservation easement for 50 trees and 25 bushes. Now, it can't be on the gas easement, and it will not hinder any access to the railroad in the future in case that is a trailhead. The reason why Jackson Creek was chosen is because it's close to a creek. That's what DNR wants. We have room. We tried to see about Cars Farm Park, and there's just no room. We looked at Flatwoods Park, that may not be available either. So we're going down the list, and we'll come back to the park board, because the park board would have to approve the conservation easement. This is after county legal, county highway, DNR, everyone else says this is a bill.
If you haven't been out there, the park that she's kind of talking about, pretty much nothing but two basic wonder creeper. So part of it would be.
Yeah, that'd be good.
invasive.
They would remove the invasive
Yeah.
for us and then put the trees they want.
It would also, a lot of those trees are wetland species, so it would help mitigate a lot of the flooding that keeps happening.
And that may be an improvement in my view that offsets the removal of all, playground equipment, it may be. But it does bring to mind, don't we have some commitments with the state when we made that a park? That we would protect or preserve something, do you remember?
Yes,
This
that
discussion.
that is why we will need DNR permission
Okay.
on both the outdoor parks
Okay,
and the people who are giving us, everyone will have to sign off.
okay, that's because of when we originally,
There is a grant,
Fire
tied-
truck.
there is a grant tied to that, it has to be a park in perpetuity.
okay,
So we'll work with it and we'll work with everyone and to look at this park, so the kids can have fun. We can have some fun things there, they can still have some grassy area to play kickball or football or whatever they would like to play. Then to protect the creek, this conservation easement.
do we have any location on the creek that is more or less open to park users to access the creek?
We've got a trail going all the way down along the edge of.
Okay.
That's-
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, it is.
And they also said in the conservation easement, we can make paths.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So that's not,
It was previously a loop, but there's so many down trees, now it's just kind of an outer back,
Okay.
but I think that. No
So-
one asked, but
so we're really looking at Jackson Creek, we want to make it a nice family park. It just, we are limited with the water problems
Well,
and stuff.
with our focus last decade or so on trails, I think. Thinking inside of, walking trails, even if they're, chip park or whatever. And I don't know what description we have written up on that park, but it may be a point of emphasis if we have a nice trail along the creek there, because I doubt if very many people know about that. I wasn't aware that we had a trail along the
I
creek.
see a decent amount of people use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people from the neighborhood know about it, because when that beaver was back there this past spring, I ran into 3 different people while I was back there looking at it, so.
I went down there myself just because of the beaver.
Oh, man, he chewed the hell out of everything.
I said-
Yeah, he left then, the
So-
rain washed him out.
Comment I make about this is like, I think what you've said, Kelly, but anything that's unsafe or anything obviously needs to be, but I think it's important though, that we realize this has been there for 30 years. And the local people, certain number of them use this park. So I don't want to see us take everything out without being ready to put things back that you've come up with. So in other words, I think you need to get your plan done before you go remove stuff.
And that's what we'll do unless there is a critical something, safety problem.
Yeah, and so that's an old enough playground that we can't even, a lot of the replacement parts on it, we can't even buy anymore. Because it's an old square post system and all they make now is the round post. It's in the same boat as the playground at Flatwoods was, where we weren't even able to buy parts, so. We just like, I think 2 or 3 years ago, we had one structure that was just so bad that we literally had to tear down a platform and take the ramp off of it, and so.
I think anybody understands when you have something that's unsafe.
Yeah.
You know, the public, neighbors, everything. I just don't want it to look like, hey, we're quitting on this part. I don't.
And that's why I really want to concentrate on the easement, so we would have a better access for the public, like, because right now they just walk through the guy's yard.
Yeah.
But
I would, yeah, and your point, I was trying to make that point about the impression on the neighborhood, but the other thing that you said that I'm a lot comfortable with is coming in there, putting in a swing set. Well, I really think we gotta do the planning. They may not need a swing set there. They may not have any kids using the park of that age. We should really find out
well,
what,
when I say swing set, if you all go to Parks Farm Park or Flatwoods Park, you'll notice it's a unit. It has a baby swing, it has 2 ADA swings, and then it has 2 belt swings. So, I mean, this is a pretty.
And the space we have to work in that's above the water table is really,
And it's
really
affordable.
small, like
Yeah,
really.
it may be that the needs, current needs there are greater than another small shelter house.
Oh, that's-
Than a swing set. It's something
Well-
that we ought to give thought to at least.
I doubt we could
Okay, do
get
it.
it past. I mean, there's so much water there that
Okay.
I think if we can just find some nice place, something for the children, we will pick the most fun that we can afford.
So,
Do look though at the surveys from the master.
Oh, yes.
Let's make sure there's not a comment or two in there about, something we ought to consider.
so, we'd like an update after a little, time looking at the situation as to options would be good.
Oh, and what would be nice, Kevin, if I could talk to you later, Molly wanted to know, well, it was my idea, if you would want to be a committee of one and to talk to Molly. Committee of one, we just need to talk about some DNR issues and her and I thought that it would be best suited at this.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Nothing like that.
Okay. The Kevin Committee. Oh, and just so you know, even though Molly's not here tonight, she does look at our meetings. She does go back and look at the meetings afterwards. She's at the council tonight doing something.
Okay. So last item under new business is, bank remediation.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We've been busy in the last 30 days. DNR came down, visited Andy and Autumn and I, and we met at Flatwoods Park. They might be able to, we're having erosion on the creek in Flatwoods Park. They might be able to do creek bank remediation opportunity, which means they would pay for everything. So we're seeing also what they can do for us free. And we're excited. And they also might talk to the adjacent farmer who is causing some of our problems because we're downstream. So we'll just keep you in the loop of what DNR can offer us, and because you might have to sign something.
Well, that's a nice bright note to end new business on.
Yeah.
Not tearing anything down or, I heard the word free, they.
Free.
Free is good. Free is good. So we'll wrap up new business there. And moving on to financial reports. Jamie, you're on. What do we need to know?
Pretty uneventful month. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. We did just issue a lot of refunds, so you'll see that coming through next month. We obviously issued a substantial amount of refunds to the splash pad renters because of the shutdown. And at $125 a pop, that's a pretty significant loss of revenue, so get ready for that.
We rent on Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursday. It's free to the public Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Mondays.
So. Is that in the financial report somewhere?
It.
I see collections, but
The
it'll be next
collections
month.
report will be next
Oh,
month.
next month, yes,
Yeah,
okay.
we just did it this past.
Now, if you look at page 19, if you look at our current cash balance, John, the foundation will be writing us what, about $72,000?
Yes, 73.
$73,000 in the month of September, so you can add that to 1179. So all the little projects I just mentioned, we do have cash to take care of them.
Any questions about financial reports? Hearing none, let's move on to anything new on page, on service agreements, pages 25, 6, and 7. These that are marked pending, what does that mean?
Oh, yeah.
Page 25.
That was taken care of. The commissioners did okay that one. B-Tech, we're still in a holding pattern. Because county legal is trying to ponder if they could do our B-Tech into a larger contract with the county.
What does B-Tech do?
Oh, there are security cameras and our dog park gate items and fire extinguishers, that kind of stuff. So we're in a holding pattern on that one. But Bobcat or Ellisville is not pending any longer. And Richard Small Engine is not pending, and Spears Corporation is not pending any longer. Everything has been approved by the commission.
You mentioned the dog park. How's that? Where did they do the changes?
Oh, hang on. I think
Yeah, it seems to be going well. I mean, it's more or less for us in the office, the same. I mean, the equipment is a little bit different, but logistically it works pretty much the same.
People like to look at it.
I think there's a little resistance to change no matter what you do, but I mean, they're getting used to it. So there haven't been no lightning strikes or issues with the equipment, which was the big thing for us.
And I think TSD is happy also.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's been nice to be able to work with them a couple of times there have been meetings.
Right, that's a plus too.
So on page, okay. I have to ask this out loud, but I will. Pages 25 and 6 are lists of service agreements. Page 27 is what?
These are particular agreements that the park board approved not to exceed amounts, and this is how we keep track of them, so we don't exceed the amount.
So what's the difference?
And it's more info between five. It's more info. I don't know how else to keep track of not to
These
exceed
are
amount.
more information about line items here. So for example, like the fourth one down is Cassie Electric. On page 25, you got Cassie Electric listed as $20,000, not to exceed $20,000. And here they have how much we have spent on Cassie Electric to this date.
So this page then represents activity.
On some of these,
pages.
yeah, not all of them, but the ones that have not exceed amounts.
Thank you. Finally, then, programming reports on, page 28. Questions or comments about, page 28, all these things.
I have a comment. I would like to thank Commissioner Givens for coming out to our grand opening of the new playground at Flatwoods and our movie night. It was the hottest day of the year, at least today. So We didn't have a fantastic turnout, but anyway, she's a trooper for showing up, so thank
Oh,
you.
well, I was gonna compliment all of you. I mean, Tina had only been on board for what, a month, and she's out there grilling hot dogs.
Oh, yeah, we threw her right in the mix.
Andy was there with his family, Jamie, she wasn't in costume this time, I
And
was
that's not
disappointed, but you guys were,
too hot.
it was, yeah. And the park looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely fantastic.
And just wait till next year till we get the restrooms and maybe the new basketball and pickleball.
We actually had a really nice turnout considering how hot it was.
Yeah.
I mean, within 5 minutes, we were all dripping in sweat. So for the crowd to be as big as it was, we had a decent crowd for the heat, I thought.
Yeah.
I did not stick around for the minutes.
Started to go pretty good.
We got a little windy. on us.
So that was July 28th,
That's 28, yeah.
the hottest day of the year.
I told Penny, so we had 2 movie nights this year. The first one was the longest day of the year. The second one was the hottest day of the year. So we are, yeah, we're trying to make them memorable. I don't care to even think about it.
The lake and the.
Okay. Any other comments about recreation? Moving on to the verbal report. Not seen that list that way before. Right, that's.
It's one thing after another out there. Well, we're still chipping brush from the storms that happened during and before the fair. So, I mean, we probably chipped for like 5 days now total, I would say. Still have another one to do. Working on,
Well, on that, unfortunately, our wood chipper
it's been,
circa 2001 is having some problems. I've called the highway department, this bridge. She's looking at her chipper to see if it's operational, because if she buys a new chipper, we might be able to get their old chipper.
cause even a used one is $30,000 or $40,000 and it's like, let's try to pick back off another one.
Any good news?
No, splash pad wasn't good news, so no, we had our field walk the other day, that went pretty well, nobody from Cutter showed up, so it's just all of us.
So,
Well, us in the Purdue.
It was mostly Purdue people, yeah, unfortunately, a bunch of Purdue people,
Do you
so.
want to say anything about the field stuff? So,
I think, I mean, obviously the weather that we've had this year has definitely helped, obviously I can't speak for what they looked like last year. But
I can tell you the back four in field 5 wasn't the same color it was when you were out there.
they definitely look good and, it was positive, the discussion we had in regards to what we've been talking about here for the last 3 months in terms of the perking of the 11 and 12, was it, 10 and 11?
I know.
9 and 11, and if that doesn't go through about what are we gonna do with funds and about the lighting and then the maintenance of other things that came up, and that was pretty well when we talked about, hey, it's big scheme projects, what needs to be done, that drainage for 6, 7, yeah. That was all discussed and that was all in agreement, so, yeah, I think the fields look good.
so we had
It shows that good work is
Edward
being
and
done.
Amy was there. And Jeff Hermish from Purdue, so we had our Purdue group there who provides free analysis for us.
We just got into the fall season again, so it's just starting to pick up. But yeah, the fields are the greenest. I've seen them in I don't know how many years. Just getting ready to gear up for the Hoosier Cup.
High school
They're
tournament.
coming up here in a couple of weeks. Just ordered cleaning supplies, extra cleaning supplies and stuff for that today. Either the end of this week or beginning of next week, we'll put in an extra field for them and most of the other stuff getting ready for that. It's like a couple of days beforehand, but just, we're still been bush hogging too. I hope within the next couple of weeks we'll be done bush hogging. It seems like I've had 3 guys out bush hogging trails for well over a month now. It's just nonstop bush hogging, so. It's lots of chainsaws.
Basically, that's a good report.
Yeah, nothing major bad has happened, so splash pad other than that. I haven't called you with any bad news lately, have I, other than the splash
I
pad?
don't know, he calls me every day and I'm like,
And it's
"Great."
normally bad news,
What's
so.
Thank you for the verbal report. Fully staffed human resources, good. Anything else? Any questions, comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Oh my gosh, there you go.
Got another meeting.
Go.
That worked out perfect.
I haven't unofficial now. Sorry, no, it's not me, it's, anyone wants cucumbers, I'll take a whole bunch from our day camp. So, I didn't even make that a big deal.
You got those in the office right now? Hey.
That's one thing I didn't get out of our.
Trying to get on that. Didn't you say your parents were building a house? Yeah, at some point, so they're finishing up, finally finishing up, they made it the rest of it, they got old barn burnt down, and sealed like that thing. Are you planning on doing it yourself? No, they're gonna end up hiring somebody, I just, that guy, and I'm working.
So we're.